If you're switching careers or just starting out in your data analytics journey, this is the first AI skill that I'd master because it applies at every level. Because whether you're trying to write your first SQL query, if trying to figure out how to start your portfolio project, or rewriting your resume for the 100th time, you're probably going to be opening up ChatGPT, typing up something vague, and then getting something vague back. But you could be getting something a lot more powerful back. And that's not the AI's fault. It's your prompt. And that's the skill that we're going to be learning today is prompt engineering and how to make your prompts significantly better. Because once I learned how to fix this one skill didn't just make me faster, it saved years of trial and error and knowledge. And the best part about this, it doesn't just help you break into data analytics, it helps you do the job better once you're in and keep scaling and compounding as your career grows. And you can learn the basics that will significantly make you wildly more productive in just 15 minutes. Literally, this one skill can lead to significantly increase in your production. And it widely has changed my life. I'm Jeff, and I started out in data entry over 15 years ago, became a data analyst, worked my way to the top, and now I'm a business analyst consultant at a Fortune 5 company. I'm on a mission to help 10,000 people break into data analytics by sharing actionable insights and strategies like this that'll help you learn smarter and work faster. So if you're serious about landing your first data job, hit that subscribe button because I'm here to guide you every step of the way. But here's the truth. The biggest productivity boost I've had recently didn't come from learning Python, SQL, or Excel. It came from learning how to prompt better. And if you're not familiar with the term prompting, here's what it means. A prompt is just basically what you type into an AI tool like ChatGPT. It's the input, it could be the instructions, the questions you give it, but the quality of that input, that prompt, directly impacts how useful the response will be. Think about it like working with a smart intern, really, really smart. But if you're vague, you're just going to get vague results back. Early in my career, I would delegate tasks, think that I'd be being clear, but what I would get back was massively off than what I was expecting. Wrong format, wrong focus. It wasn't what I needed, was unhelpful. We had to redo the work, and I would have been oftentimes better just doing the work myself. And I would get frustrated. I would think, why didn't they do it right the first time? And then a lot of trial and effort later, I eventually realized it wasn't them, it was me. My instructions were vague, my expectations weren't clear, and the moment that I started making this better, the moment that I started giving better direction, setting clear expectations, spelling out what exactly I needed, and defining how I'd measure whether it was done right or wrong, everything changed. And with AI prompting, it's the exact same skill. So that's your first lesson. Treat AI like your smartest employee, but their work depends on how you ask. If you ask vague questions and give generic details, you'll get vague and generic answers back. But if you're specific, intentional, detailed, and clear, you can deliver work that saves you hours, sometimes even years, based on the direction that you're heading. Now, let me show you exactly how to do that, starting with a simple framework that changed everything for me. First, it's going to be prompting for your everyday use. I came up with this simple internal framework that I call the 3 Rs, which is going to be role, request, and response. And this is not some official prompt engineering standard. It's just something that I created on my own to make it easier for me to remember, to help me prompt faster, and just easier to manage overall. There also are similar frameworks out there. I'm thinking of role, task, format, but I just used the 3 Rs because it was easier for me to remember, and it's what I came up with initially before I came onto role, task, and format. So just know that there are just similar frameworks, so use whatever is easier for you. So let me break down each part of this and show you why they matter. First is going to be role. Who should the AI act like? This is important because it sets the tone, the perspective, and the level of expertise in the response. If you skip this, you'll usually get something generic. and like it was copied from a textbook or just a broad help article. But when you assign a clear role, you activate more relevant knowledge and tone. So examples of this are going to be you are a resume coach who specializes in helping career changers land interviews. You are a technical writer explaining complex systems to HR executives. You're a hiring manager reviewing 100 resumes a day. So why this works is LLMs like ChatGPT have been trained on millions of writing styles and perspectives and data. When you assign a role, you guide the model to behave and speak like someone within that context and experience. So what you want to do here too is test with different roles and see which responses you like better. If the first one is too formal, too bland, too casual, then you want to change it, rerun the prompt, or give more specific instructions so you get a better output. Which brings us to the number 2R request. What exactly do you want it to do? This is the actions, this is the instructions. You need it to be clear and specific. And this is the number one mistake I see here is people being too vague. If you say summarize this, you're going to get a basic summary. But if you say summarize this in 3 bullet points focused on only customer complaints, now you're giving real objective and real context and filtering out what you don't need. So examples of this would be rewrite this resume bullet point to show measurable impact. Summarize the top 3 insights from this interview transcript for a stakeholder deck. 3, draft professional LinkedIn headline for someone transitioning from retail into data analytics. This works because the models have too much data. They have and can do a lot. So if you don't clearly define the task with instructions, you'll get safe, watered down answers, not filtered for the instructions that you want it for. So if you're feeling that the response is off, 9 times out of 10, the request wasn't specific enough. And then you can add more details and clarify what good actually looks like. And it brings us to the third R, which is going to be response. How should it format the answer? This is where you tell AI how the output should actually look like. And it's often the piece that people forget. And this is what makes a good answer usable. So examples of this are going to be respond in 3 bullet points, each under 20 words. Format it like a table with 2 columns with insight and recommendation. Give me 3 headline options with bolded keywords and that are specifically targeted to the industry that I'm targeting. And why this works is by default, ChatGPT tries to be helpful, but that helpful default means it could be a 5-paragraph essay when all you needed was just short bullets. Or it could go in the opposite direction, which is often what happens, is it gives you something shallow and generic when what you want is real depth. And in those cases, what I'll prompt is for exactly what I'll need. So I'll say, write this with the level of detail you'd see in a shareholder annual report. Please go deeper. Write this like a PhD student writing a thesis on this topic. This feels too surface level. Add a case study example and expand on each bullet into a full paragraph explaining all of the concepts in greater detail, but easier to understand like I was a 5th grader. You can talk about like length, where you can talk about write this close to 5,000 words, find relevant industry sources, and with links to your claims. So the key takeaway is the more precise that I am with what I want it to sound like, how long and who it's for, the better the output gets. So think about this like delegating a deliverable to somebody. If you need a title deck and a title PowerPoint slide, you're gonna say that. If you want it to be drafted like an email, you're gonna say that. You want it to just be in bullet points, you're gonna ask for that. If you want it to be in a thorough analysis that you would see in a financial report, you wanna ask for that. That's what you're going to be providing. And the more detail that you provide here, the better that your output is going to be. When you combine all 3 of these together, you're doing exactly what top performers do when they delegate well. For role, you're giving context within the role. You define a clear task with the request. And 3, you shape the output with the response. And it mirrors how great communication works in any high-performing team. And that's why it works well with AI. It doesn't have to be massively long. It could be very short and concise, and you'll just see instantly better answers and results and save yourself hours of time with the back and forth. But here is also what most people miss. Prompting is not just a one-shot thing, it's iterative. So what I mean by that is that when I prompt, I usually optimize for speed. I'm going for that quick draft using the 3 R's and just trying to get a rough idea. If the quality is good, I keep it. But if it's okay, I learn how to refine the requests, clean up the response instructions. This way, if I'm off, I can also change the role that I gave it. And then I'll test out different phrasings and tweak out all of these different segments. So while I'm tweaking what I'm asking it for, I shift the format until it's actually useful. And then once I have that mentally in my mind, that's what I will save on the side as prompts to use in the future. And then another thing that will help your prompting, and something that a lot of people are not talking about right now, is you're not just using the model, you're training it with your feedback. So if the output is great, I'll say, this is exactly what I was looking for. Great job. If it's close, then I'll give feedback. I like the structure, but the examples don't match. And I'll give specific instructions on why the examples don't match. Please try again with more technical examples. But if it misses completely, I will say things like, this isn't what I was looking for. Here's what needs to change. Sometimes, depending on my mood, I will just tell AI straight out that this sucks. I hate your output. And it learns significantly fast based on that feedback. The more feedback that you give it, the better the results will be, especially if you're using a model that's memory enabled like ChatGPT. That way, ChatGPT can start remembering your preferences, like your tone, your formatting style, and how your responses were delivered. And even without this memory, this back and forth still sharpens your thinking, and that alone will make you a better communicator. But this is just the beginning. In part 2, I'm going to show you how to take your prompting to the next level with advanced techniques. But while you wait, if you're still trying to figure out how to get started in data analytics, you can check out this next video where I break down how exactly I become a data analyst in 2025 with tools like ChatGPT baked into the process. So watch that next. And until next time, query responsibly.